Welcome to Clean Cut Conversations, the podcast for exceptional Southern Black men. Join us as we delve into vital topics, including mental health, relationships, finance, self-care, and entrepreneurship. We have a special guest today. You know what I'm saying? His name is Marcellus Banks. Let's give him a round of applause.
Let's give him a round of applause. Let's give him a round of applause just for the last name, because that's what we're going to be talking about.
Very
you know
smooth.
what I'm saying? Banks. And that's what, boy, we're going to be talking about some money today.
Yes.
Success and progressing money.
Yes. So, Marcellus, you are an ex-military, motivational speaker, a financial professional, and you're a founder of your own venture. So, do you have any upcoming projects or events that are coming up that you would like to, inform our audience on?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I just want to say thank y'all for having me today. And that introduction was amazing. So yeah, I do have some events coming up. I actually got some networking events coming up pretty much. So, I just want to exchange some business cards. What I offer, someone in the room may not offer. I just am a communicator and also a collaborator. So I just like to do everything as a team, to be honest, and just network. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. So it's a lot of people moving here. It's a lot of people growing here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course, we right down the road. We're in Murfreesboro or whatever, but
Right.
I'm from Nashville, born and raised. Got a restaurant there as well, called Dinner with Friends. So that's probably where I'll be doing all my networking events.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a fine dine restaurant on West End. Like I said, I'm born and raised here, so I always took business and community service, to heart.
Cool.
I grew up in inner city community, downtown Nashville, and surrounding areas, North Nashville, and so just want to get back.
Represent your high school, though. What high school was that?
I grew up, graduated Weiss Creek High School in
Weiss
2007.
Weiss Creek.
North Nashville. What it do?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Once Cobra, always Cobra.
Already.
Yeah.
Already.
but the city's growing itself. Nashville is look at East Nashville. Used to be the roughest part of Nashville at one point, and now it seems like they gentrified
Yeah.
a lot of us and pushed us towards Antioch.
Yeah. That's our fault.
Ooh, we're gonna get
let's
into that.
put a stamp on
Nice.
that one.
Our
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
Let's just hold on to that thought. So let's start this off, man. So from the beginning, with your upbringing in the South, how did your experiences shape your desire to become a successful Black entrepreneur?
Well, being born and raised in the South, I just always felt like we were more challenged, but we were more diverse.
Right.
Well, I say diverse, it was because, of course, there were other people who didn't look like us, but we had the same struggle. If that makes sense,
Right.
we just had the same struggles from where I come from. You know what I mean? Like Caucasian people, Hispanic people, we was all in the projects. We was all doing bad.
Right.
When I heard first time I ever been called an N-word, can I say the word?
Yeah, you can say it.
Well, nigga, it was not that at the time,
Right.
But I was called that with a lover at the end of it. If that makes sense.
Now, explain that context.
Yeah.
For you being Black and then being called a nigga lover.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because there was, white girls in our neighborhood, I grew up in Lebanon, Tennessee projects, and then also Nashville projects, Lake Street projects up the Heights. So I grew up there. That's where my dad was from. So when I visited my dad in the summertime and stuff like that, then was some of them in the neighborhood, in the projects,
Of course.
and we were more attracted to them than our own.
Gotcha.
Just because most of them was our family. We grew up with most of the people, so we were always attracted to what didn't look like us.
Oh wow.
I'm
So
glad you. That's
no really Black on Black or Black and Black relations. That much?
I mean, yeah, we had that, but it wasn't serious. It wasn't something that excited us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
We was
It was just the
doing that.
culture.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it was all about the culture that you brought, or all of y'all brought together.
Yeah, I mean, just because we was already just doing that with each other,
Right.
like girls, our race, if that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. At an early age, maybe 7, 8, 9, and then when we see something totally different color than us, it's like, oh, it's just different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, let me ask you something. So, being in the military, you were already before then exposed to a diverse crowd.
Yeah. Very diverse. And like I said, it was a struggle. It wasn't like we was all just living good.
Mhm.
And then we had them saying, even though that was the terminology and what they said about us, the language.
Yeah.
I didn't take it as offense at the time. I didn't know until I got older that, I wasn't supposed to be called that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, it wasn't, just being in the South, it was naturally here.
Right.
Yeah.
If we lived up north, ain't none of that. You know what I
Happening
mean?
now.
None of that happening.
Or even on the West Coast.
On the West, none
You
of that.
saw
happening.
that. They had the Black Panthers. They weren't
Yeah.
playing.
Nah, yeah, they
Right,
weren't.
They weren't playing.
They weren't.
Yeah.
Like, so let me ask you something.
Interesting.
So basically your motivations to start businesses, right?
Mhm.
Because you definitely put your focus on lower income families. That's because you came from that environment.
Mhm.
Besides that, like, let's talk about like where you're at now a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you feel like during that road or that challenge that you suffered some type of discrimination, gentrification with your business in the sense that, like, for example, like at this one point in time, you had all the Black people in one area, right?
Mhm.
All of us in one area, then all of a sudden it's all gone and your business was affected by that?
Yeah.
In a sense, have you ever had any of those issues, like a lack of knowledge to access funding for your businesses because of color?
To be honest, no.
Really?
I've never had to experience that, just because, like I said, I grew up in a diverse background.
Okay.
I didn't have to ever just depend on Black people,
Okay.
which I don't have any problem with just depending on Black people.
Right.
But I'm limiting myself if I just depend on Black people.
You brought up, okay, so this is, I'm gonna piggyback off what you just said, but really for me answer. So a quick reference is, Candace Owens, they're making a big deal about her, this picture at her baby shower, and there's all these white people around her. You know what I'm saying? It might be like a light skin with a mixed one there beside her. Everybody was just dogging her and stuff like that. Like, oh man, she ain't got no Black fans. She didn't want no Black people. But then when I got outside of myself for a minute, I said, let me think for a minute. Well, her environment, where she was from, her environment, it was pretty diverse, but I think it was extra diverse because it wasn't the population of Black people where she was very low. So you're just accustomed to that type of culture. And then on top of how people treat you.
But on top of that, it's her tone. Our community doesn't like her tone.
Right, now that's true.
That's the truth.
But I just meant her comfortability as far as just the people who are around her.
Right.
Like you would expect to see, you would think, okay, well, she knows some Black people, so, but like her demographic in the areas where she was at was probably limited to a bunch of Black people. So for him, for it to be so diverse, he's not, it seems like, tell me if I'm wrong, it seems like he's like, okay, well, I'm looking for the Black people. Just only, you grew up with diverse people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So did you have that mentality though? I guess what he's asking as far as like, man, they're not going to do this because I'm Black type thing.
I don't think I ever really had that.
Okay.
Maybe in the military, just
really,
gaining rank, but
really,
not ever with money.
Why do you feel that way in the military?
Military,
Give you that type of energy?
Just because I didn't know what to expect. Going into the military, it's just, I don't know, it was scary. It's just scary. But I didn't know what to expect, so I was like, dang, maybe that actual Black and white thing comes out in the military, because I never really had the experience of growing up other than just, being called whatever. But we was all struggling, like I said, growing up. But in the military, we was all struggling to make rank.
Right.
You know what I mean? So every race, and it wasn't just Black and white in the military. It was Black, white, Hispanic, Latino, Asian. And I probably said Latino, Hispanic and Latino, but
yes, that's okay, man. We get it.
It was just everybody out there, just everybody. So it was dog eat dog.
Dang,
I'm the military at that.
Yeah.
So like, as you got older, and when they used to call you a nigga lover, when did you start to realize that you weren't supposed to be called that? Why did it affect you at a certain age?
So when I was called that when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
I was a kid.
Okay.
You know, I think I don't even remember when I actually was like, I ain't never being called that again. I mean, like I said, I grew up in the project, so I always had that in me to always have to defend myself or
Yes.
be,
Yes.
just I guess assertive. But I don't know. I never really had to have that racial challenge until the military. I'm telling you, that's it.
That's
Because
interesting.
usually they put you in a diverse environment.
Yeah.
From people all over the world, and you were Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Navy.
Okay.
Sailed the 7 seas, man. That's
Yeah.
Thank you for your service too.
Yeah, thank
no
you.
problem.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
problem.
for sure.
So let's talk about like overall, man. Let's talk about the discipline in the military. I know you had to fight for rank and everything.
Yeah.
But transitioning from the military to pursue entrepreneurship, because I believe the first time I met you, you were running the seafood.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, if you want to get into that, that's up to you. But I already know. But at the end of the day, it's like, how did it help you, the military experience, help you translate your newly founded skills? Like, what did you learn from that
Well, pretty much,
experience?
I don't know. It's just I always had this feeling of I ain't gonna be in the military forever. I always knew I was getting out after 4 years.
Okay.
I made rank pretty quickly in the military, which almost made me stay in.
Got you.
But God just always be like, all right, you do what you say you're gonna do.
Yeah.
So whether by choice or by force, I thought I was gonna stay in after I already got in and was like, I'm getting out.
Yeah.
Making rank so quickly was like, I'm staying in, but something happened in the military. I ended up almost losing rank. But it was like, well, maybe I just need to go ahead and get out anyway, because my rank ain't really depending on my hard work. I'm a leader, so I have to be a leader amongst everybody. So if everybody gets in trouble or if everybody makes a mistake and I don't, I'm always going to have to suffer the consequences.
Right.
So, and I say, one time we end up all coming in to the ship late. We all got separated. And I'm the leader. I got back first, and
Gotcha.
we was like, where's everybody at? Leadership was. And I was like, sir, we just all got separated. We're on deployment. We pull in the ports. We drink a little bit. I'm the oldest person. I'm still young though. You know what I mean? I'm still a kid at 22. You know what I mean? But I've made rank so quickly.
That's right.
So anyway, but it was just like, maybe I just need to go ahead and get out like I said I was. And I got out. Some of the choices that I made getting out, when I say choices, business decisions, was nothing to do with the military.
Really?
Absolutely nothing.
So let me ask you this though. See, I think I talked to him about, because I used to be a corrections officer, right? And when I used to talk about inmates all the time, right? I said inmates are fearless because they're already at their lowest.
Yeah.
And then when you're in the military, you said that, you were scared getting in, you didn't know what to expect, but you became fearless, it seems like.
Yeah.
And, even though you didn't see race as an issue, it's like you still would take the chance.
Yeah.
A lot of people would just kind of roll with the punches, become an employee and be happy. But so you're saying the military didn't teach you like to be kind of not even ruthless, but just kind of act on logic or anything?
It taught me to be disciplined.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, it taught me to be disciplined. But I already had PTSD prior to the military.
Really?
Just how I grew up,
Of course.
So the military was like fun. It was like every day was like Adventureland to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just seeing all these different people.
That's a message. Hold on, man.
It was, man. It was just like just seeing all these different people. I was on a ship with over, 4,500 people, 5,000 people on a Navy carrier, you know, and we ate together. We probably knew everybody's name, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Like we knew what everybody did. 4,500 people now.
Yeah.
Wow.
We knew what every job was. You know, it was just a challenge, but I loved it.
So I guess it's safe to say that, because I mean, you were reiterating like where you were from, you know what I'm saying, the PTSD thing. I guess it's safe to say that pretty much so your environment got you prepared for, in a way, what you were seeing, you know, in the military, in a way. Like now, now rep your hood. Now, where part of JX you from?
I mean, so I grew up in Cheatham Projects. I grew up in, So Cheatham Projects and Joe Johnson Projects as well. So we moved around quite a bit, you know, but it made me who I am. And just like you said, it made me ready for the military.
Yeah,
it really did.
So let me ask you something. When they say PTSD is usually associated with military members and not civilians.
Yeah.
You totally disagree.
Totally disagree.
But you know what I'm talking about, like, right?
Yeah, always, because when you hear it, you think about military, like, okay,
all the time.
But it's a broad scale.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very broad.
Wow.
You know, but you know, as a kid, I remember being like 7, 8, 9, just always fascinated with TV, just fascinated with television, TV shows. And Bruce Lee was my guy growing up. Like all the stretches that he did. I don't know. He kind of he instilled discipline in me early.
Yeah.
But military instilled discipline in me later.
See, and he's in the Navy. He adapted like Wata.
That must move like
he
Wata.
Adapted like Wata.
Be the Wata.
That was good.
But you know, like, it's just crazy, man. So like, besides the military, man, like, let's talk about like today, like the challenges you faced as a Black business owner in Middle Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
The goods, the good, the bad, pros, cons. You know, I'm just say if I'm just starting up, like, what would be the first thing you would tell me, actually?
Yeah. As African American?
Yes, as African American, of course.
Well, don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself as an African American. But don't forget where you come from. You know, never forget where you come from. So always show love to your people. And show love to as many people as you can, though, you know, who love you, who have the same respect for your culture as you have for theirs. I have no hate in my heart to nobody. If I did, I had to let it go, you know. But just lead with love, you know. Anything you do with business, I learned that in business that if you buy somebody something, if somebody purchased something from you, y'all already have a connection. You know, you might go home feeling like I might have should have not bought that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so glad I bought that.
Right.
You know, it's just a different connection. Like, you know, I owned a seafood restaurant, just like you said, a seafood market in a restaurant. You know, but it was challenging because it was post-military. But that was the first thing that I've done business-wise post-military. And it was very, very challenging. So another answer to your question is, if you don't know how to do it, find somebody who does.
Yes.
And, you know, actually be a student. You know what I mean?
So being that you said that, who was that?
Well, I went into a franchise with the seafood.
Okay.
So the Gandy Seafood, which is actually still there. It was a franchise. It is a franchise. And I was actually the first person to go into the franchise. Before then, it was a trademark. So I had to go through those
loopholes.
We're a franchise now. We're going to go through these type of things now, moving forward, with or without you, moving forward. And I was like, I see how y'all rolling. I'm going to just exit right.
See, because you lead with love, like you said. And you're seeing a lot of hate and negative energy.
To respect the place and the owner who is there now, because it is still a franchise, and he is a franchisor. Separate him from franchisee. You know, franchisor from franchisee. I didn't know anything about the seafood industry. I just knew I love seafood, right?
Yeah.
And I sought after a seafood franchise, and I brought them here from Panama City, to Rutherford County.
Oh wow! So wow. So you expanded their business.
I expanded their business.
So let me ask you something. Like, when it
But
comes,
they were already here. I'm sorry to cut you off. They were already here in Columbia, Tennessee, but it was a trademark.
Okay.
So they were like, "Oh, we were always wanted to come to Murfreesboro."
Right.
wow,
Okay, y'all should have been done that.
Huh.
right.
If that was what y'all always wanted to do. And I'm just thankful for the opportunity. You know what I mean? I'm thankful for the opportunity. What was your question?
Well, like, let me ask you this. So, like, when it comes to the Black community, you know, you lead with love, right?
Mhm.
Shoot, I do too. That's my last name. But anyway, love it.
Yep.
But let me ask you something. Why does our community, you feel, thrive off of so much negative and hate, though?
Mm.
Is it an issue? Because you're so different, man.
Mm.
And it's like the more negative, the more we feed into it. Our community.
Mm.
Man, that's funny you say that, the negative, because all I do is try to spread positivity.
Good.
I always say that it is our job as men
Yeah.
and as leaders to act better than we feel.
Mm.
You know, we may feel like shit sometimes.
Yeah,
Pardon
yeah.
my
I'm
language.
good at doing
No,
that.
go ahead.
You know, but we gotta act like everything is good.
Yeah.
You know, to our kid, in front of our kids,
Yeah.
in front of our wife. Every day I wake up and I'm putting on a performance.
Now, you're putting on a performance. I remember me and him were you know, we were having a dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, me and my brother, right?
Mhm.
And we were talking about the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Do you feel that when you put on a mask to like telling your kids that everything will be okay and be positive, do you feel
Well, the imposter syndrome only happens when I step into something new that
Okay.
is that I've never stepped into before.
Okay.
But when it comes to my kids and my wife and just people in general, right?
Mhm.
Because when you're a student, you have to put on a uniform.
Mhm.
You know, you got to prepare yourself to learn, right? I'm always preparing myself to learn.
really
From my kids, from my wife, from people.
Yeah.
Everybody is a teacher to
student
me.
of life?
I'm a student of life. I'm a
Nice.
student.
See, and because the reason why I say this is because I feel what holds our community back is that sometimes we do put on a mask for our kids.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like I know with my father, sometimes his fears are instilled in me
Yeah.
and it prevents me from actually accomplishing things.
Yeah.
I put a glass ceiling over me
Mm.
and I don't even realize it.
Mm.
And I have to learn that that glass ceiling can be shattered
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I can actually breathe in this air.
Yeah.
And I learned that concept from, I believe it might have been Joe Rogan or somebody,
Okay.
but they were talking about crickets in a jar.
Mm.
That they
Oh.
put crickets in a jar
Mhm.
and then they eventually let up the bigger jars, but the crickets were only jumping as high as the lid.
High as it was
Mm.
capped.
So,
Yeah.
right. So, but they didn't know that they can jump it higher.
Right.
And that's how I feel sometimes, or that's how I felt when my father, and I love him to death.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when he put that mask on sometimes, you don't want to say nothing to the white dude. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Mm.
He comes from Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
So it comes even deeper
Yeah.
on the roots. And to me, I have to be like, Dad, like, you are who you are.
Mhm.
Mm.
If I have to die for what I believe in,
Yeah.
then so be it.
Mm.
Because I'm living my truth.
Mm.
I'm being who I am.
Absolutely.
And I'll do that for what I believe in.
Right.
Like Braveheart, baby, you could just take
Yeah,
off
yeah.
my limbs and throw them on different sides of the continent. for all
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
Legacy.
right, but no, you had a question.
Yeah, it was. I was going to pick about because I was holding on to the franchise thing, right?
Mhm.
It seems like from your experience, like the franchises. I mean, it was good for what you. It seems like you did more for them. This from when I'm looking at it, right?
Mm.
You know, as a franchise, you know, but on top of that, like it felt like you had to deal with more bureaucracy than comparing it to like a sole proprietorship.
Oh man.
Mm.
So how? Yeah. So what is that difference dealing with franchise and then sole?
All right. So if somebody told you that you could own a Chick-fil-A franchise, how does that make you feel? You could do it.
Initially, you would feel good, like
Right.
what my own, like
Yeah.
Right.
but
Yeah.
that would
but
feel good.
you have to pay royalties, you know, whether they be weekly, month, or whatever it may be. I had to pay weekly. You know, which is okay. I'm using their name.
Yeah.
I'll do it. You know, I'm making money in their name because they come from Panama City. Fresh product, fresh seafood. I'll
Gotcha.
do it.
Yeah.
You know, and it stayed true, which is what I love. It stayed true. The royalty stayed true. It never went up. It never went down. It always stayed true. I just always say you just gotta make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. but there will be surprises.
So let me ask you something. By owning a franchise, like people own Subways, Pizza Huts, do they really go into that business for the love of that product? Or do you feel they go into that business so they can own that property? Because the product will sell.
Yeah.
Mickey D's, them golden arches will sell.
Yeah.
But my intention is to open up maybe a barber shop or something.
Yeah.
But I just don't have the money.
Yeah.
To buy that or lease that property.
Yeah. Man, look, next time I go into business, if I do a brick and mortar, anything I do next time, I will own the land.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
And also the business.
Yes.
You know,
And why is that important for the people?
just because, you know, if you go into anything, you want to make sure that you are the controller.
Yes.
And the owner.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Controller.
Yes.
You control everything. You can get your own legal team.
Yeah.
You can get your own CPA. You can get everything that you need to be successful. You can get your own developer.
Yeah.
We just don't think, and I say we, just a lot of people in general, we just don't think on that scale. We just think rentership, you know,
That's fair.
easy.
Right.
That's a fact.
Easy.
So it kind of goes to this statistic I got off of Fundera, right? Do you agree with this? 34% of Black business owners start their businesses because they want to be their own bosses.
I say it's more than that. I think it's
Oh yeah, we want our own.
60%.
You think it's 60%? Now, here's another one.
Okay.
44%, this is for funding. 44% of Black business owners use their own cash to start their venture.
How many? 44%?
Yes.
He probably gonna say higher.
Why is it not like 60%?
They said compared to black and white owners, like they say that, and they said that 37.9% of Black business owners say they are discouraged from applying for loans.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Why do you feel that though? Like
a lot of people don't even apply just because they don't know where to apply, how to apply. Like even during the PPP epidemic,
yeah,
a lot of Black entrepreneurs or business owners didn't know about how to apply for the PPP.
The right way.
The right way.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Like trying to get, look, I got a PPP. It was only like 10,000.
Yeah.
And I paid it back.
Yeah.
But was forgiven rather. But you got to do it the right way. I had a CPA, thank God. The franchisors actually surprisingly was like, hey, you better get that PPP.
Yeah.
And they was Caucasian. But I never really had access to the resources even when I was a business owner until even my CPA was just, I do taxes. The franchisors was like, pay us our royalties. Where's your weekly order? Here's your weekly order.
Right.
What else do you need? How's business? How's your showcase? How's your lineup?
Right.
Stuff like that. But nobody was ever personal in your personal. And I even tell people that who's, employees, your employers, they only have to give you a 401k. They don't have to tell you to manage your money safely and properly and make sure that you contribute this amount and diversely. They want you to max out their 401ks, and then if they're not matching you, then it's like, but I'm just saying, we don't have access or knowledge of what's safe and important.
So PPP loan, for those out there, can you describe that once again?
I mean, it was just during the pandemic. It was just something that the government was giving out that was actually helping business owners to thrive. I used the PPP to help my employees to keep them employed. I cut them a check.
So what's the acronyms? What are they?
PPP?
I thought it was pay.
Man, look, I couldn't even tell you, and I'm not even gonna try to guess. But I never even thought to even look that up, which is surprising to me.
We'll figure that out.
This is that type of podcast. We can sit there and look while we're talking. So when you applied for any type, did you apply for any? Obviously, with the franchise, you didn't have to ask for no grants, or anything like. So if I wanted to start a Subway. Or McDonald's.
Yeah.
For the upcoming Black entrepreneurs, what is the first step?
If you're local and you have Chamber of Commerce,
Hmm.
I would say go to the Chamber of Commerce first and foremost.
Good.
If you're African American, go to the Black Chamber of Commerce.
See how you said Black Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah. In Tullahoma, we have a chamber, but
If
it
you
ain't
have-
black though.
Now, if you have a Black Chamber of Commerce, and then if you don't, go to the Chamber of Commerce, because business is business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially if you have a great idea,
Yeah.
you know, they're gonna be like, "What?"
So I'm going to pinch a nerve.
Mhm.
I may not be. First of all, the PPP, it does have something to do with pay. This Paycheck Protection Program.
That makes sense. I don't know why.
It makes sense. It had pay in it though. Pay.
Yeah.
You know.
Made that up.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember that? Hey, copywritten. You know what I'm saying? Clean cut conversation. All right. Now, Chamber of Commerce. It's interesting you say that, and it's interesting you said, like, you know, if there's a majority Black one, you know what I'm saying, go to that one. So you say you're living in a town like mine, you know what I'm saying, and you know we deal with stereotypes and stuff like that, where you don't see too many Black people, which is like 3.5% where I'm from, that come in and want to share their plans on establishing a business in that town, and so you're dealing with 95% Caucasians, right? You know, could you agree that, you know, most of us, we feel a little, you know, our underarms start sweating. We got to make sure, you know, we got
Anxiety.
the code switch going in. Yeah. And we change, like, if you were ever in that situation,
Yeah.
and you're amongst the majority of Caucasians,
Yeah.
and we're just laying it out, we're speaking on the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to code switch?
No.
Okay.
The same way that I talk to y'all is how I talk to them.
See, that's that imposter
okay.
syndrome you're trying to enter.
Yeah.
If he had the code switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason why I say this, I always say this, like, always enter every room like God sent you there. You know,
Alright.
no matter what room it is, God sent you in this room.
Yeah.
You know, so you have some value about yourself. And that's it.
So you got to live your truth, man.
You gotta live your
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah, I mean, because you can't really just come in there like, because it'll really show on your face. You don't even see it.
Oh,
but
let me tell you something else.
Yeah.
They see it more than anything.
Yes.
They know it.
We spoke about that.
You are more cool to them when you actually are just who you are.
Yeah.
When you go in there trying to, oh, you really, Bob? Really?
Really?
Just like how we see what sometimes they do.
Yeah.
You know, the white chocolates. You know what I mean? But like,
yeah.
you ain't got to try that hard, bro. It's okay.
But guess what?
What's that?
You're more likable when you are ignorant and you come off as like, you know, a thug hood. You know, you come off, you're more likable.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're more intimidating when you come off as intellectual or, you know, and just coming off not it's perceived, you know. They don't know me. They don't know how I grew up, you know. And it's not code switching to me. It's just I'm very diverse. You know, I grew up with so many people from all walks of life. Like I grew up with a half white, half Asian woman. And that was my auntie. I got her tattooed on my arm.
Challenging question real quick. So just after that, what if they didn't come from the environment you came from? Like, what if they came from, for real, like a predominantly Black neighborhood where you're just engulfed in the culture, you know what I mean? Still the same, you still apply the same, I mean, you know, because, you know, some of us, you know, we coming from we got some rough edges. I mean, we're intelligent, but, you know, we may have a different dialect.
Yeah, still, just because they trust me.
I dig it.
You know what I mean? Like, first of all, how I'm going to show up, I'm not going to be like you.
That makes sense, though.
I'm not going to, I used to sag my pants, you know what I mean? And I'm just not saying like all hood people sag their pants. You know what I mean?
Right.
No matter what room I walk into, I'm always dressed the way I dress.
Right.
And then also I'm always act and talk the way I act and I talk. You know what I mean? I ain't going to try to be something different.
Yeah.
I'm not going to not wear what I normally wear, you know, unless somebody asks me to. You know what I mean? Somebody asks me, you know, make sure you dress up. I'm going to make sure I dress up. You know what I mean? If you say, make sure you wear a Live Your Truth shirt or hoodie, that's what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? If I ain't wearing this, I'm wearing a Live Your Truth hoodie or a Live Your Truth shirt.
I dig it.
See, because if you think about it, man, trust doesn't really have a color.
Facts.
It don't. It has an emotion. It's a feeling.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a feeling.
So then that's what, you Pisces too, so I got to throw that in there.
Yeah.
You got that feeling too, man. Like he can, him and my brother, they can kind of evaluate the room. Y'all are so good at that.
So you can come in like clear Pepsi, but it still tastes the same.
Yeah.
It still tastes the same.
Exactly.
Don't get it twisted, y'all. I know you see through me, but it tastes the same.
Man.
Absolutely.
Oh, they did try to make that clear Coke, didn't they?
They tried.
Under that clear. I think didn't they? If I'm not
copycat, and I ain't like it.
Oh man, I ain't never heard that.
They tried to make it
probably buy
vanilla.
it.
I bought Pepsi.
I can't do Pepsi.
I only did it because it was
Pepsi or
clear.
Coke?
I can't do just do Pepsi. Like Pepsi's too strong on the throat.
Yeah, man. I thought Coke was.
What kind of Coke you talking?
I think Pepsi go flat. It go flat quicker.
It do.
I don't know, man. Every time I down Pepsi, it'd be burning like acid.
It be burning.
Yeah.
Well, you can pour Coke on a battery and clean it.
See, you done burnt out the nerves in your throat. See.
Oh yeah,
That's that deep throat finale.
Sound like Uncle Ruckus when you get done, man. But you can put Coke on a battery though. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
It'll clean it. You know.
I heard that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So basically, let's go ahead and just start to wrap it, man. Like, what are some like key takeaways? Like, I guess because I know you're building and you're empowering the Black community too, even though that's not your full intention.
Yeah.
You're doing it anyways. So if you think about it, like, if I'm not a business owner, just say if I was a musician, right? Or didn't have the skills of running a business, but I really wanted to uplift my community, what are some ways? Because you own a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So like, what are some ways that you've connected other Black brands or other businesses for the Black community itself?
Well, be strategic. Be very, very strategic. Start with a business plan. Don't just jump out there and go get an LLC like most people do.
I know.
Or go get a S corp, C corp, whatever.
Okay.
Or sole proprietor. Just don't go register nothing. Don't get an EIN, nothing without a business plan first.
Gotcha.
It's like having a vision board for the year. Like if you have a pastor who does not have a vision for the year, he should not be a pastor. You
That's
know,
real.
If you don't pray over a business that you're starting, you're doing something wrong.
Do you want to share your story? Well, join us at Clean Cut Conversations. Let's talk mental health, relationships, finance, self-care, and entrepreneurship. Your voice matters, so let's make a difference together. Yes, we are back. We are back. Yes, if you want to be a special guest on our show, Clean Cut Conversations, feel free to send us an email. Hit us up on our social media accounts, and we'll add you in. But yeah, we're back, man. So, Marcellus, like, before we got cut off, I wanted to talk about a nonprofit organization, the famous 501c. Like, tell me how one can become successful and not worry about, oh, I need to start an LLC. I need to be my own boss. I need to cut this check. I need to make this money. Yeah. But how beneficial is a nonprofit?
It's very beneficial. I say the first thing I did when I got out of the military was actually a nonprofit. I started Living Truth. It was nonprofit.
Okay.
It was 2017. I didn't start the seafood until 2018, which is actual business.
Gotcha.
It was structured corporation business.
Yeah.
But a nonprofit is slightly the same. It has to be super structured. Very, very structured. You got to have a board of directors. Before you go into a nonprofit, which I think everybody should.
Yeah.
You got to make sure it's something that you love to do.
Yeah.
Okay. You can make money from a nonprofit.
Or donations?
By donations, yeah. Not
Don't get fooled by that big check. It's a donation.
But not just donations. I mean, some corporations or nonprofits are donation only.
Gotcha.
This is how we make our money. Donations only. Some sell T-shirts, like Live Your Truth T-shirts.
Okay.
Some throw events.
Yeah.
Some, just I guess host different things. Merchandise or whatever it may be. But there's other ways. Even though you hear nonprofit, you have to sustain, and nonprofits have board of directors, whether some of them get paid or not. And then nonprofits surely have employees.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to have the funding for their employees and sometimes their board of directors, you know. So nonprofits, you have an opportunity to get grants, which you don't have to pay back.
Facts.
You just have to have all your ducks in a row and structured and designating a plan for the money.
Okay.
You know, this is government money we're talking about.
Yeah, they got to keep that on you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, don't treat it like your refund check.
Man.
No. No.
No, for real. People be spending that refund check on the wrong things.
Yeah,
The wrong
that's
thing.
Dang, they be buying new cars. They be buying like jewelry.
PS5s.
Right, and then have to take it back at the end of the year. We're trying to sell it on Facebook Marketplace for $200. I know no PS5 and no $200.
Hey. Where you get that
Yeah,
from?
right. So okay, so let's talk about you being, you know, in the finance, right?
Mhm.
I call you an advisor, pretty much.
Yes, sir.
Let me say this. Tell us about life insurance and how important it is and how we don't take advantage of it in the Black community.
Well, it's definitely something to take advantage of. It's over 150 million Americans that are uninsured in America. It's over 150 million. Pretty much. Yeah. Now, if you don't need life insurance, not everybody needs life insurance. I know during the break, you know, we was kind of talking about some people who didn't have it because, you know, some people are millionaires.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, you don't need it.
Hmm.
You know, some of them still have it. Millionaires, you know, still have it. But not everybody needs it. But most people do. Most people do. I think it's very, very important. It's actually the number one wealth builder in America.
I believe it.
Yeah.
People die every day.
How is
babe.
that though?
It's
People die every day.
And
So it's
then,
It's true though.
Yeah.
but when those people die, if they listen to leave an inheritance for your children's children,
Yeah.
then you set something up prior to you dying. You don't just think about yourself.
Right.
You think about others to come, you know, and what was that?
No, I was just saying generational wealth.
Well,
Generational,
right.
Or
Yeah.
generational skipping trust, you know, trust even, you know, having trust set up to where, you know, if you can, and I'm maybe speaking to, you know, just a couple of percentage of people, but, you know, if you don't have the debt, if you don't have the extravagant things that you're paying for, please invest into your future and your legacy. You know, that family tree, when they look on, what is the
Ancestry.com.
Ancestry.com, when they look on that and they say, him, what did he leave behind? Because this is where I'm at because of him.
Yeah. I know some people be mad. Oh, my granddad left with some Swisher Sweets, man. Dang, man. Like, what we gonna do with that, man?
And some debt, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then like most people having fish fries and GoFundMes and all this for
That hurts my heart to see that.
it do, but you know, it costs $30 to get some insurance. And there's different types of insurance. And
With your job too.
now with your job, you know, that's like key employee insurance. You know, so if you're a key employee to this corporation or this job, then I'm going, as an employer, I'm going to have insurance on you. I have insurable interest on you because you work for me. And if you were to die, now I have to replace you. So I'm going to use this policy to replace you. And then whatever's left over, I may give to your family.
So that can be applied to the music industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, which is, I mean,
They're employees pretty much.
they're employees. Well, they're almost like general contractors.
Okay.
You know, but there is still an insurable interest there. You know, they're general contractors because they're signed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't have a salary per se. You don't get it in.
Because you have to make it yourself.
You got to make it yourself.
Yeah.
But they're also investing in you.
Facts. They give you that PPP loan.
That PPP loan. But, you know, if they put, you know, some contracts might say that we're going to put, you know, 300,000 into this or 400,000 into that, you know, and then they have to get their money back. What is the return on the investment if you die? If you do drugs and you kill you.
Ah.
You know what I mean? It's like you have to have insurable interest on anything that, you must insure anything that you have insurable interest on.
There was a question I think, I don't know if we got, overall, you just give me a large sum of money amount, right?
Mhm.
How much, because we're talking about employees, just saying, your employees, you need 10 employees for a business you start and stuff like that, right? How much is needed to officially just start your own business with employees? Because, it's like, you got to pay them. So, of course, you're going to have some type of loan to pay them off until you can re-up your money. And then how much would you say on an average, just an average business?
Yeah.
How much would be needed to start one and to employ 10 people, let's say?
Yeah, make
Since
sure
you
you're
asked,
speaking to the mic a little bit.
Yeah.
since you
10
asking me what average number, I would say average maybe 50,000.
50.
Yeah, maybe. And that number has probably gone up because I don't have employees now.
Okay.
But if I did, and if I went into a brick and mortar that I had to pay rent, lights, utilities, all that, plus product, plus employees weekly, whatever it may be,
Right.
I gotta have to start off 50,000. Then you gonna have to make sure that you got some kind of leeway
Right.
in that, because what if you don't make as much money as projected?
Right.
In your first grand opening or first few months of opening. Now, when I started, I didn't start with my own money. I started with my own. I mean, I didn't start with other people's money. I started with my own money.
Got it.
Robert T. Kiyosaki, man.
But I thank God that it was what I had was lucrative. I was bringing in money like crazy. I made, my first year in real business, I made over 450,000. But it was just.
What was the investment though? 400. You made.
I mean, it was probably 30,000 investment.
Bruh.
Yeah.
You made $450,000 off of 30,000.
Yeah.
Bro, first year.
Flipping it.
First year.
He's a flick of the wrist, boy.
Usually the first year is a loss.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I had a
profit,
but it was only a 40% profit. Just because, of course, you got your expenses. You got your employees. I know I ain't gonna say the numbers, but I spent a lot in thousands of dollars in wages, and then had to pay myself as well.
Fair.
And then just my product was crazy. Seafood was crazy.
Yeah, right.
Pre-pandemic and then during pandemic, it went skyrocket, which is part of the reason why I decided to walk away from the seafood industry. But
gotcha.
I still do have a restaurant that I partner with, Dinner with Friends, downtown Nashville. But I had to separate myself from the managerial skills,
I got you.
or I had to put my manager skills, just like, look, they don't appreciate your manager skills.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you don't actually like managing. You just like investing. So
I feel you though.
Yeah, I had to learn a lot about myself in business, which it takes that though. I say never give up. Always find out what you love and what you don't do, but that comes with trial and error. It comes with falling face down.
So you say you transition a little more into just investing, right? Instead of just the managerial thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that, learning the managerial thing, did it help you with investing? So a business that you may be interested in, you want to see how the management works, right?
Yeah.
Well, most businesses that are successful, they started from the bottom.
Right.
And they worked their way up to the top.
Yeah.
So when something like my father, he was he was store director of the commissary, and he swept floors. He started off doing that, stock shelves, worked in all departments.
Right.
So when he became a store director, he knew the expectations of each job.
All the positions, yeah.
He'd be like, okay, hold on, bro. Like, I was in your shoes. I know produce is supposed to look like this.
Right.
And the meat's supposed to be cut like this.
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, when you manage, you learn more about your investment. Because I guess when it comes to an investment, what are you really managing if you don't know? Right. Or do you even know what you're getting into?
Fact.
Yeah.
And by being a manager, guess what? You're managing the flow, the workflow. You're managing the place. That's why I'm a manager.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people start off working in their business, but the goal is to work for the, work on their business.
Yeah.
Now, what's the percentage that you pay yourself, or you should pay yourself? Because some people pay themselves 50%. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah,
left with the rest,
yeah.
I mean, it just really depends on your expenses and what all you got going out. If I could pay myself 50%, I'm doing that.
That's actually a good question, because I say that because we'll get into the voting seat and stuff, and they're talking about all these multiple jobs and stuff like that open, done everywhere, jobs, but okay. When you are an owner of a business and you got to pay, your employees and stuff like that, and he was just mentioning like, I would take 50%. The money that is paid from the management team to the employees, would you have to say that it's really more of a moral decision? Because there's a lot of inflation going on, and sometimes big bosses want their money first. And
yeah.
How do you feel about that? You think it's more, it's a moral thing, like just making the right choice on how to pay your people?
Man, that's a good question. Just because, some move with how they grew up, and it's like, well, I know, my first job was at 16. I was underpaid, stuff like that. And some people actually have a heart. So I put it to you this way: I paid competitively,
Gotcha.
but also I went above paying competitive. I told you I was in a franchise.
Right.
I said, franchisors, I'm going to open up tips to them, even though we were a market. We weren't a restaurant.
Okay.
When people came in, they love good service.
Right.
They made more in tips than they did actual wages. Where they would bring home like $400 a week in tips.
Dang.
Crazy. Like, making more wage-wise, hourly, they would be making more money on paper than I was daily. Just
makes sense
based on tips.
So it's really a mindset. Like, I think Ice Cube said it best. He says, I don't go in to collect the check. I cut the check.
No, that's right. That's right. Because longevity, you want to go far, go with a team. People say, I don't want to just be what I do. I want to make sure that I'm doing it big, if that makes sense. Everything I do, I want to do it big.
Yeah.
When I had one location, I opened two eventually, but it was during COVID. Of course, move strategically. Never move too fast. I moved too fast during that time, even though I was already in business 4 years or 3.5 years, and I was bored.
Yeah.
I jumped off too quickly because I was bored.
Yeah.
I was good at making money, and it was so boring to me because I wasn't really worried about the money.
Yeah.
I was worried about the impact. And I didn't see any more new faces coming in to my brick and mortar without putting in more money in ads and Facebook ads and stuff like that. And I just wanted to reach a more diverse, area. So I opened up another location in Nashville.
So man, I know we got to wrap this up, but I guess what would be your last thing you would say for Black entrepreneurs upcoming? I know you probably answered this, but we're going to close it out.
Yeah. I would say tap into your local entrepreneurs. So tap into your local chamber of commerce. And because that right there is going to say everything that's going on business-wise. Your chamber of commerce, everything that's going on business-wise. You go in there and they, you can say, this is my plan. And they're going to say, well, let's help you make that a vision plan. If you can't do it on your own, which I don't suggest doing it on your own. So if I would, leave you with anything, is be brave enough to ask for help, ask for help and don't be afraid of help.
That is a big issue with a lot of us.
Yeah.
Ask for help but seek the resources. There's Google, there's ChatGPT, there's YouTube, there's the Chamber of Commerce, like I said, but you actually have to put yourself into these rooms. You have to network, and you got to throw your own networking events sometime, but if you want to be successful, nobody's going to hand it to you. Nobody's just going to give it to you. And nobody's going to pay you a lot of money without some kind of value. You have to have some kind of value about yourself. Add some value to your life whether it be a general contractor, a general, I'm a licensed financial advisor,
Gotcha.
but I'm licensed to help people.
Mm.
So I got licensed to help people, and I can make as much money as I want to because I don't have a salary. But I actually had to take the time to get licensed. I studied.
Yeah.
I failed twice. I passed on my third time. But I had to add value to my life. As soon as I got my license, I had people calling me like from the state because, I had to register my license through the state of Tennessee.
Gotcha.
And, other states that I'm licensed in. But I had to register myself. So once you register yourself, it's people who need what you do. They're like knocking your door down, blowing your phone up like, hey, it's not a lot of people who get their license and to sell life insurance or health insurance. We need you on our team. We'll pay you 170%. What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Like stuff like that. But not all good money is good money. And I'll leave you with that.
So, like, where can the people check out, your businesses at?
Follow me on Facebook, Marcellus Banks. And then also Live Your Truth. Youth Clothing is my nonprofit. Right now, I'm actually doing some social media rebranding because one of my pages got hacked. my main Instagram. I don't know what's up right now.
I understand it.
I've been on Instagram or Facebook since 2007, and I just got hacked for the first time this year.
Oh, look. Hey.
Yeah, like never had.
Well,
somebody.
You made it through. You did all right.
Roy, how many times have you gotten hacked?
4. But,
wow.
Whoa,
for a very
man.
good reason, but it wasn't, they just,
He said good reason, but
You were scamming.
all I gotta say is
You
just
was scamming.
leave politics alone. Just
you
was scamming.
don't say nothing you don't want to.
You hear me? You were scamming.
You was scared.
I
don't
got
know.
tired. Me and Johnny
don't
was like,
even know
we're
what
tired
that-
of this
I
dude.
don't even know
like,
what that is.
Man, I'm so tired of scammers.
What is
man.
scamming?
I don't
Yeah,
know what is
I'm so
scamming.
tired of what is
But
scamming.
they're giving people like me
Who
a
does
bad
that?
name.
was scam-
You're giving good people a bad name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
just
just
scam
giving good people bad names and stuff, man.
That's what it is.
I tried the Ponzi scheme once. That's what he's talking about. I was going to say it because he liked the match, but I gotta put gasoline on it so they'll know. Yeah. I had but I wasn't the ringleader though. I was just introducing them to it.
But you were recruiting though.
It
Thanks
did.
for
I was
clarifying.
The recruiter's just as evil.
but it worked though. It worked a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then people weren't getting their money.
Oh, well, that ain't got nothing to do with me.
But he was getting his though.
Nothing to do with him.
Yeah,
He was getting his though.
and nobody worked as a collective, so it was this teamwork. I was like, come on.
Oh, you were getting donations?
No, I mean, you know how that triangle thing work. Like, hey,
Charitable?
I bring them in, and then y'all do this. And once I'm out the circle, y'all got to keep it going.
Oh yeah.
Y'all got to keep it going. Well, where my money? You got to go out and get people.
Bro, you're the Pied Piper, bro.
You don't talk to nobody. You don't eat.
I don't know what they're talking about. Man. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what
Closed
it is.
mouth don't get fed.
That's what it is, though. You know what I mean? I made mine and got out. Me and my big brother. Shout out to my big bro. He went in and went out.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you do a close up on that when that happens.
I'm just gonna say Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
say,
don't know who
look,
Ponzi is. What's his last name? Scheme? Ponzi?
no, it's Ponzi scheme. You know what that is?
Ponderosa. Y'all remember that restaurant,
No,
Ponderosa?
you know what a Ponzi scheme
Love
is. Don't play.
Ponderosa.
Yeah,
Don't play.
Ponderosa. Yeah.
After this, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to accept free donations.
Donations.
But anyways, I'm your host, Josh Lovett.
Royce Massengill.
Yes. And Marcellus,
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming by,
Thank
dropping
you.
some knowledge for us. But we are out.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for tuning in.
Peace.